Look at us. Look at all you beautiful people.
Look at your beautiful palm trees.
What is up?
Hi,
Look at
everything.
this. I mean, it's just here.
I
You
wish
know?
I had sunshine too.
Nice.
Uh, Tamika, we got Tamika. Good, good, fantastic. We got a lot of pages today. Lena, we got Lena. Awesome. We got Paris. We got Canada. We got New Jersey. We got California. Shauna, how you doing? Good to see you last night. Shauna and I were at a Writers Guild event. All
Yeah.
right. We got quite the crew. Tamika, you gonna be on camera? Because I want to talk to you about your pages. I don't know. Uh-oh. See a camera. I can't see everybody at once. There's Tamika. Tamika, how you doing?
I'm good. How is everybody doing?
Good. Tamika was in a call last week, but we've never talked about Tamika's pages before, right?
Right.
Okay, fantastic. So Tamika is like new to the premier level, and I just want us all to meet Tamika since we all basically know each other already. So Tamika, tell us a little about yourself, where you're from.
So I am from New York. I am a little about me. I am in the aviation side, but I'm also on the TV and film side. I do a lot of the music, songwriting. I dibble and dabble into the TV and screenwriting a little bit. So I'm kind of nervous. I just was like, I'm gonna go all in and I'm gonna put it out there. But I mean, I like to do more of the cinematic R&B, cinematic like noir, all around aviation. That's kind of what my interest is. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
Excellent. So we're going to get to your pages, but tell us what your project is. Because I was reading it and I'm like, man, it's got a lot of energy, but I don't know that world. So I'm assuming you're taking us someplace really interesting for us all to explore.
Yes. So what my project is pretty much about is about a group of female who are really taking over the world of private aviation. Being able
Hold
to
on. Somebody's microphone is on and keeps cutting in. So uh, I'm gonna mute everybody. I think I can do that. Hold on. Sorry, Tamika. I
it's
am
okay.
learning how to do this. Ba-ba-ba. Okay, we got Peter. And we got 15 people here today. This is freaking awesome. Okay, I don't know how this is going to work. I'm going to mute everybody because somebody keeps popping into my headset. And then I want to make sure that Tamika can talk and people can jump in and talk and unmute themselves when they want to talk. So let's try this. So I'm going to hit mute all. Tamika, you should just be able to mute yourself and be able to speak. So let's try this. This is my first time trying this. Okay, go ahead, Tamika.
Okay. So pretty much what my project is about, it's about this one woman. She's a private jet broker, and she has a crew of female women who are kind of flipping the aviation, kind of flipping the whole thing around. So they're dominating the foreclosed and bank owned market.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty much what it's really about. It's just basically a bunch of females taking over a male dominating industry because they were shut out of that industry. And now they're coming back and they're taking it over.
Gotcha. Okay. What we like to do is read some pages here. Yours isn't really in script format yet. So I think what we'll do, so she's got 3 or 4 pages here. I'm going to pull it up and we can look at her work. Um, how many women do we have we could throw at this thing and cast? Let's see. We got Crystal, we got Anna, we got Pia, we got Shauna, yes, and we
Yeah.
got Tamika. So we got plenty of women here. So
How many
Tamika,
women do you need? Because I'm eating. Sorry.
listen,
I have food in my
it's,
mouth.
one of the characters can be eating.
Yeah.
Fine. Uh, okay, Tamika, why don't you cast your pages here? Just tell us who the main characters are. We've got Mara, Nia, Kiki, Alana, and Ivy. Yes?
Yes, so the main character is Alana.
Okay.
Everything's centered around Alana. Then you have Ivy. Then you have Nia, Kiki, and then you have Mara.
Great. So, do you want to play the main character?
Sure.
Okay. So, Shauna, why don't you be Nia? Can you be Nia?
Okay. I just ate the last piece of fried chicken.
Girl, you got responsibilities when you sign on one of these calls.
I know.
This ain't just come on and sit around and just passively
You know,
take
if you get
everything in.
Harold's fried chicken, it only lasts so long.
All right. Crystal, who did I just assign you as, Shauna? Are you Nia?
Nia.
Okay, Crystal, how about you, Kiki? I'm just going down the line here.
Sure.
Okay, Pia, you're going to be Mara.
Mara? Yeah.
And then Crystal, you're going to be Alana. I think that covers us.
You just
Okay.
had me as Kiki.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Crystal, who are
Yeah.
you?
Kiki?
You're Kiki? Okay, who's Alana? We're missing Alana.
Me. I'm Alana.
Okay. Anna, who are you?
I don't know.
Okay,
don't
do we
think
have
there's
any,
anybody
do we have
left.
anybody who's Mara yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Ivy.
He is not.
Ivy.
Ivy.
You
We
need
need
somebody
Ivy?
for Ivy.
Anna, you're Ivy.
Okay.
Okay, you guys can see the pages here?
yeah.
Yes.
All right. I will read, since I've read this already, and I don't think anybody else has read it. Okay, this is a teaser. Hangar money. Okay. Private hangar, night, Teterboro Airport, 2:18 a.m. A private hangar dressed like a hostile takeover. Folding tables, open laptop, eels abandoned on concrete. Women everywhere, sharp, tired, focused. A Gulfstream G450 looms behind them. Foreclosure stickers still slapped across the door. This isn't a party, this is a war room. At the center, Alana Ward, late 30s, calm, lethal, broker energy without the smile. A spreadsheet glows behind her. Asset, G450, status, bank owned. Hours, 9312, deadline, 0600 a.m. Around her, Nia, 30, former charter sales, fast mouth, faster math. Kiki, 40s, mechanic hands, diamond nails. Mara, 50s, ex-bank, ex-loyal. Ivy, 40s, composed, razor smart, cashmere scarf despite the heat. Ivy sits slightly apart, laptop open, medication organizer beside her phone. She clocks the room faster than anyone.
You've passed through my lines. I can't. You gotta.
Did I?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Nobody's
She
had a
clocks
line
the
yet.
room faster than anyone. Nia says they want scrap value.
Did I? No,
Yeah.
that's the next line.
Okay, well, it had passed it.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
you gotta go down.
so we're starting with dialogue. Can you see the Nia line?
Now I got it. I'm using
Okay.
my own. Okay.
Okay.
They want scrap value.
Because they don't know how to move it.
Because they don't know who owns it.
Alana doesn't look up.
Because they don't think women run aircraft.
Silence, that lands. Ivy clears her throat, not weak, measured.
And because they assume we won't outlast the paperwork.
Eyes shift to her. She meets them without apology.
They're wrong.
Alana taps the screen.
What's the note?
32 million discounted quiet.
Alana nods.
Resale.
Nia grins.
75 if we reroute the title and keep the story clean.
Kiki cracks her knuckles.
If it clears inspection.
Ivy types, winces, pain, flickers, controlled.
It will.
Beat.
I already pulled the maintenance gaps the bank missed.
She looks up.
They rushed because they think time works against us.
A beat.
Time works against them.
Alana finally looks at Ivy. A nod. Respect.
Good.
She turns toward the jet. Interior of the Gulfstream continuous. The cabin is immaculate. Too immaculate. Alana runs her fingers along a seatbelt. Stops. A faint red smear on the buckle. Almost gone. Kiki clocks it.
That's old.
Ivy steps in. Slower. Conserving energy. Her eyes go straight for the floor panel.
Old means documented.
Alana kneels, pops the panel. Inside, a phone, cracked, dead. One unread text still visible. I told them I'd talk. Ivy exhales, steady, practiced.
That wasn't a passenger.
No one asks how she knows. Alana stares at the phone. No shock, no sympathy, calculation. She closes the panel. In the hangar, continuous, the women watch her return. Nia reads her face.
Problem?
Alana hands Ivy the phone instead. Ivy takes it like evidence.
Someone tried to move this jet without closing the human file.
Mara stiffens.
That's not our problem.
Ivy looks up, sharp.
It is if the asset comes with a body count.
Beat.
Banks don't like surprises. Courts hate them.
Alana meets Ivy's eyes.
And buyers?
Ivy doesn't hesitate.
Buyers pay more when the silence is clean.
Alana looks around. The jet, the women, the clock.
We don't just sell jets.
Beat.
We take what the system leaves behind
Beat.
and turn it into leverage.
Ivy's phone buzzes, a medication alarm. She silences it without looking. Nia notices, says nothing.
So what's the play?
Alana checks her watch, 2:26 a.m.
We close before sunrise,
Beat.
and we find out who thought this plane could disappear without a receipt.
Across the hangar, the G450 lights power on. The women watch it glow. Digital clock on the wall flips to 2:27 a.m. Ivy pulls her scarf tighter, steady, present. Alana doesn't blink.
Let them think it's still theirs.
The hangar door slams shut. Cut to black. Empty zone. All right, people. Yes. So unmute yourselves and hop in here or raise your hands. What's the organized way to do this? People raise hands. That seems like something, or just hop in.
I mean, I like the energy. You described it exactly right. It is really amazing energy.
Yeah. I mean,
I just
what I
don't
like.
know where it's going, but
Yeah, I don't either. And I kind of like that. I
Yeah.
like not knowing where it's going. I like the energy. I feel like look, one of the things, there's two things that I'm thinking about when I look at scripts. One is I want to see a world that you're taking me to that I don't know anything about, right? Can you take me someplace? Can I have an experience that I wouldn't have in my own head outside this theater? And the other is I want to feel like the author knows what the hell they're doing, right? And they're taking me that place and it feels lived in. And so I definitely, like, from the moment it starts, like your writing just doesn't waste my time. You get to a point. It's clean. I don't know where it goes. I thought the jet was stolen and they were like part of some crime ring or something. But I'm just interested to see how this unfolds because I don't know a damn thing about this world. I didn't even know it existed. And I always feel like if you can take something that's familiar and I look up at the sky and I see a jet and now you can tell me a story. And when I look up, I go, I wonder where that thing came from. I wonder what the story is. Because to me, they're all just like, they're so clean and vanilla that you're telling me a different story about them. And that's interesting. Peter, I see your hand is raised. I don't know what to do about that, but hop in.
Hey, yes, everything you said, I really appreciate clean stage directions, and this reminded me a bit, or at least I was imagining one of the episodes of Industry, where so much is happening around you. It's a really clean environment, and with regard to the characters, I don't know enough about them, but I do want to know more based on everything that you've put down for us.
Ian, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I really like it. Two comments. There appeared to be kind of in around the middle of it. There seemed to be a lot of dialogue action, dialogue action, dialogue action. I'd rethink that a little bit. I think some of the action you might be able to rip out and just let the dialogue flow a little bit and let the actors and the directors figure out what's actually happening there. You can have the women watch it glow, or you could just say it glows, and let them figure out what they do about that. So I'd maybe back off on a little bit of the action part. The one thing I really like, and somebody else just mentioned that, is the variation of the characters. Much like, dodgeball, where one guy's a pirate and one guy's a nerd and one guy wants to be a cheerleader. You've kind of set that up here where your four or five women all have different backgrounds, and hopefully at some point we discover what their goals are, so that we really care about their outcomes. So yeah, the first time I've read something from you, and I literally grabbed it, printed it out, and read it to my wife, and she went, "Wow, that's really good." So
Wow,
there's two people who are going to come watch your movie.
that's a hell of a
Thank you.
compliment. You actually printed it out and read it to your wife. Like that is true. Like sometimes I will forward things to my wife, and I'm like, "Look at this." So yeah, yeah. Godfrey, jump in here. I saw you had a comment.
Oh, yes. I was like, I like how it just flowed. The pacing was very good. Like it just really, like David said, it just brought you into the world. It made you just think about it. I just thought like it was like some heist was going on. Like these three women were just gonna jack this whole entire plane. So I just really kind of just wanted to see where it was gonna go. I really like it.
Yeah, I feel like you've done what you need to do with the teaser. Is you introduced us to an interesting world. I think all of us are like, where does this go? You know? And so, yeah, I would encourage you to like keep developing this and keep showing up. I don't have any notes. I mean, I sort of agree with Ian. Like, there's places where I don't think you need the description, but that's not the point of this draft of what you're writing right now. What you're writing right now is discovering the characters and all of that, and just keep doing what you're doing. And whether you want to commit to a treatment, right? I don't know if you have a treatment. I don't know how worked out this is in your head, but keep your process going, right? Whatever it is.
Thank you guys. I appreciate all the feedback. I was so nervous because this is like the first thing I've ever written. So, and I had like multiple like versions of it, and then I just got to the point where I was just like, I'm not gonna touch it. I'm just gonna go with it because I felt it. But this is what I have so far. But now I know that I can expand on it and like flesh it out more and do more with it. So I definitely appreciate all the feedback and all the comments. It's really helpful.
Well,
Yeah, that's
you've inspired me to look into how to write haiku poetry. So
Uh,
I'm super excited about it too. It's jets and powerful women. How crazy is this going to get? I mean, I just can't wait to see what you do with it. It's just cool because I'm a guy, right? But whatever.
The
So
sexy.
oh my God, who knows? I don't, not necessarily drug world. How about just powerful women kicking a bunch of old white dudes'
and
asses,
flying planes in cool ways, you know? Jason B, I don't know. Okay, if you go down to React, and I think you click on React, yeah, if you click on the React heart at the bottom of the screen, there's a raise
Yeah.
hand heart. So
I don't
Jason
have
B,
that
hop in
though.
here.
I don't have that though. It just says play chimes for raised hands and recognize hand gestures. So I don't have the raise hand feature for some reason. Yeah, I really enjoyed it also. I was going to say, private jets are definitely a sexy kind of thing to center a script around. Of course, I guess the ladies are the what the focus is, but the jets definitely adds an attractive thing for people to want to watch it for sure.
God, it just reminds me of two things that are just
Interesting.
lore legendary. One is the missing Malaysian flight, right? And then two, there was a jet hijacked in the 70s that two guys they didn't hijack it, they just stole it from I'm sure Tamika probably knows the story. They stole some actual major jet, and nobody's ever known what happened to it or where they went with it. And then the other story is that guy in Seattle or somewhere in the Pacific Northwest who stole a plane after he'd been playing all this online aviation. He literally stole the plane, took off and flew and did barrel rolls and everything, and eventually just crashed it into the ground because his life was falling apart. But this whole notion of like sort of rebels in the sky with jets and stuff is so interesting, you know? So it's a world. Like you've got a world there. And I think that's really something.
Telling me,
Godfrey,
are you wondering though what the story is? She has a world, but you're like now inferring story into it. Do you feel like, Tamika, you have a story or do you just have a world?
I have both,
Oh,
actually.
good. Okay,
And some of it comes from my own experience being in this world.
great.
Awesome. I'm definitely interested in seeing it. Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Let's go to Pia. You've got something at the top of my page here. What do you have?
I just have some extended pages, and because you said about taking away Miss Echo and introducing the main character, so I've been working on that. But I added the
Right,
treatment as well, so you can see the full story.
right, but you still have the Miss Echo introduction, right?
I
After
do,
after you're on the roof.
yeah, I do, but it's I've just left out like the bit of her running away. It's like crossed out, so I can come back to it.
Okay, got it,
Okay,
got it.
that makes sense.
Good. We'll get to that in a minute. Godfrey, I
That's
want to get to what you're doing. What do you have for us?
I have a revised from our talk with me and David, and then from hearing all the feedback, I have a revised 10 pager of the opening for the
Great.
finished script I've done. So it's just kind of just bringing up what it is now and just seeing what feedback I can get from it.
Awesome. Why don't we look at that? Because I think you've been doing some interesting things on that. And I don't think people have seen it since you added the hero walk in
Yeah, it's
from
been
your
a while
guide.
since I first shown the opening for the script.
Oh man. I'm recording these things, and if I don't take the screen down when I record them, we just end up with the script the whole time instead of people's faces. So let me see. Hidden perspective, yes?
Yes.
Okay, let's cast this thing. We got some priests. You know what? To keep it simple.
Yeah, the only talking lines are Benjamin, Edgar, John, Caleb, and Jenna. So we just
Okay,
need in an narrator.
why don't you assign those really fast? Chris
Okay,
Dyer's Chris Dyer's sitting over there needing a
yeah, I got
role.
Jason volunteered to speak. I have Jason to be John. I could have who else is here? Chris. Chris can be Benjamin. Chad can be Edgar.
Edgar. Okay.
Uh-huh. Uh, Father Pat. I could have David. He could be Father Pat.
Is that me? I'm Father Pat.
Yeah, you can be Father Pat, David. Well, actually, no, David, could you be my narrator?
Sure.
Awesome. Can I have Pia be the possessed girl?
Sure thing. Yeah.
And then for Jenna, can I have Anna be Jenna?
Okay. We good?
And I'm Father Pat. David H is Father Pat.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that fills in everybody's role up to the
Wait.
date. Oh, do I have a Caleb? I don't think I have a Caleb, actually.
I'm the narrator, right?
Yeah.
Is it narrator or narrator? It's one of those words that people are like, "What are you saying?" I'm like, "I'm saying it the right way."
Narrator. It's narrator.
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 It's my southern root.
Narrator.
I have these southern things that come through. It's like
Narrator.
I was talking to somebody about a poem, and they were like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "A poem." And they were like, "You mean a poem?"
Oh.
I'm like, "A poem. That's what I'm saying." They're like, "No, it's not what you're saying." So these little things that sneak through.
Mhm.
All right, did we cast Caleb?
I think who's left to cast Caleb? Who do we have? She's like, I already got like half the people.
I'll take Caleb.
You'll take Caleb? Beautiful.
Yep.
Great. Okay, we're ready? Interior, Holy Order of Demonic Exorcism, makeshift room. A screaming girl, barely any fat on her bones, 4-point, tied to a bed. Bruises all over, open wounds on her body. Her skin a grayish tone, hair unruly. Several priests positioned in the room. Father Pat holds a Bible, speaking scripture over the possessed girl. Priest Luke battles to keep her still as she begins to levitate off the bed. He reinforces his hold. Priest Adam prays while Priest Reed slowly backs away, the color draining from his face. Outside the makeshift room, from the other side of the reinforced glass, Priest Edgar with a tablet, comes up to Father Benjamin Randolph, 50s, a little heavy set with a full rugged beard, looks on.
Results?
I'm afraid we're slowly losing the human side. I don't know how much longer she can hold. Her body will.
Ye of little faith, hold fast. We mustn't waver to darkness.
The possessed girl's half-human demon scream bounces all over the room. Crack, the special grade viewing window weakens. In the makeshift room,
Please help.
the little girl's eyes are pleading. Father Pat, speaking scripture, gets close to comfort her.
Don't worry, we'll save you. Just hold.
Snap, the girl breaks out of her hand restraint and tightly grips Father Pat's neck. He drops the Bible, desperately tries to break free, his strength fading, gasping for air, losing hope.
Is that the possessed girl?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay. You let your guard down, priest.
Crack, the demon drops Father Pat's corpse on the ground like a piece of trash, then kicks out her leg restraint, sending Priest Luke into the wall without even laying a finger on it. Meanwhile, Priest Adam prays more fervently, deeply, sweat falling like rain. Priest Reed cowers in the corner, outside the makeshift room.
Someone open the door. Get them out.
Many rush to the door.
Sir, it won't open. It won't open.
Benjamin clutches his fist. In the makeshift room, Free at last stands, silent, her head hung low. She begins to elevate off the bed. Suddenly strong winds manifest, swirling around her, filling the space. Priest Luke and Reed look on in horror. Adam stays steadfast. She lifts up an arm directed at Father Luke. He is taken up into the air, gets pinned to the wall by the sheer force of the winds. The fierce gusts enter his lungs through his mouth and nostrils. He starts to suffocate. Adam, with his unceasing prayers, catches the demon's attention. In a blink of an eye, it was face to face with him. She cracks her neck to the side, staring cold daggers into his core, yet he does not stop praying. It lets a roar, piercing sound barrier. The reinforced glass weakens further. The winds from the war start to cut up Priest Adam, bleeding with open wounds. He still keeps strong. Outside the makeshift room, through the chaos of people, feet run away from the horror, yet a single pair of combat boots strides past them toward the madness. There he stands next to Benjamin John Apollos, 50s, scar on his neck up to his cheek, wearing a trench coat, in full-grade combat gear, battle-hardened face, solemn. Benjamin turns to his side, says John.
You. This must be his doing again. You don't belong.
John ignores Benjamin and moves toward the sealed door, places a small circular device on it and steps back. Boom! The door blasts open. Everyone's attention in the room is drawn toward the doorway. John saunters in, a soldier into a battlefield. The demon releases Priest Luke, retreating away from John. Priest Adam still holds the line. John pats him on the shoulder, giving him a rest as he approaches the demon.
You, let us be.
In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, leave.
Then the possessed girl starts to convulse and shake. She lets out a blood-curdling cry, a mix of the girl's real voice and the demon's. She falls flat, still. Suddenly, she rises, puking all over the side of the bed, her vomit black. She falls back to bed, her skin and hair revert back to normal. Benjamin and those with him enter.
Check on the statues of the girl and see to all that are injured. Attend to Father Pat's body.
The priests scatter, checking on everyone, the rest to cover up Father Pat. John tries to make an exit. Benjamin catches him by the arm.
You are not needed.
John remains silent.
Don't think just because you saved this one soul that it makes up for the many that were lost that day.
John pulls out a very well-designed, defined pistol, bangs out a shot over Benjamin's shoulder at a dark, shadowy figure creeping through the wall. Instantly, it's vanquished. Benjamin lets him go. John lights a cigarette, puffs out a cloud of smoke, calmly walks out of the room. Father Edgar comes up to report.
Father Benjamin, the girl is stable and fully free. Healthy even. It's a miracle.
You must continue to monitor. Further diagnosis needs to be conducted.
Yes, Father. Also, if I may, who was that man?
A blemish.
Sir?
This is an order. You and everyone here must not ever breathe a word of the man and what he just did, we save this girl.
But, sir.
That's an order.
Yes, sir. I apologize. Forgive me, Father.
Father Edgar scurries off. Benjamin clicks his tongue. John passes through the hall, puffing out more smoke. Let's just talk about that for a minute. How do people feel about that opening now?
I think it flows better.
I like the pace. I thought it was paced really well, like a lot of action happening, and I got a real sense of the room and the possessed girl and the priests all scurrying and praying and trying to do their best to to hold the girl and to try to keep the girl alive. I guess that's what's happening, right? But yeah, I thought the pace was really, really good, Godfrey.
Thank you.
Good. Jason Smith, character development?
Yeah, I felt the characters seemed to be fleshed out really well.
Yeah. I still think there's maybe a priest too many or something like that. And then when
Right.
he exits, I want to get straight to the point. I know we're going to have some news about the girl later, but I kind of feel like it's distracting me right now from my hero moment, right? Where I want to get to don't breathe a word of this. He was never here, right? The simplicity of that, right? And who was that man? Nobody, nobody. Don't breathe a word of that. He was never here. That to me is like the gist of what you want to do in that moment. And then I just feel like that makes your hero even sort of stronger when the only real conversation is about him. The girl is in there. We assume she's fine. I did feel like he got off easily with the demonic, like it just went super great for him. He just went in there and said, by our Lord Jesus Christ, come out, and it was solved. And I feel like that's a cheat that you're going to have to resolve. I think it's a little too easy for him in that moment. If this is like, why doesn't that happen with some of the other priests? I know he's a better man than they are, but I feel like it's a little bit of something that you're going to want to make that more of a magical moment. It's almost like in Matrix when we first meet Trinity, how she's just amazing. Like whatever it is that he does, it needs to feel like something that an ordinary priest could not just walk in there and do. And I've seen many exorcist movies where they say, "In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, come out." And I'm like, oh, he's just doing what they did in every other exorcist movie. So I sort of feel like he needs to somehow have some ability that I haven't seen before, where he takes that energy and does something with it. Ian, you got a hand up?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think there's three priests. They all need to be different. One's got to be a scaredy cat. One's got to be the shoot first, think later. Somebody else has got to be running around the room like they don't know what's going on, or the crazy priest who just wants to kill her. I mean, it's something. But I think like the screenplay we just read, where all 4 or 5 women are distinctly different. It would be good for you to introduce each of the priests with a little bit of something that distinguishes them beyond priest one, priest two, and priest three. The second thing was I'm not sure, and it just caught me by surprise. The word "meanwhile." I'm not sure that's a direction for a director.
Oh, are you reading? Are you wait? You said Priest One, Piece Two. I changed it. They have names. Are you
Oh
reading
yeah, sorry.
the
But
original?
I would go one step further and I would give them a personality, like when you introduce them. To just add something like was done in the previous one. And then the other comment was the word meanwhile. I think if you're writing this for a director, which I think you probably are, as opposed to writing a story, there's probably a more I don't know what the technical term is, but in tandem with that going on at the same time, there's that going on. I think there's a direction for that, although I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. And then the one I liked on there was Benjamin clicks his tongue. That sort of follows the standard noun verb object flow. And I think there's a couple of your sentences that are very, very descriptive, but they could be tightened up. And again, so that the director and the actor can figure out what they're going to do. Just keep thinking noun, verb, object on every one of those lines, and I bet half of them get cut in half.
Yeah, and look, I'm gonna. He had priest one, priest two, like you had that before, and so we got to come up with a balance so that we don't feel like there's so many priests we got to pay attention to them, and we're not going to deal. These priests don't come back, right? These particular priests, so I don't want to think about them too much. It's not like I'm setting up Ocean's 11 like Tamika was doing, right? So in Ocean's 11, I want everybody to be very distinguished and all of that. This is a little bit of an art where we're going to have to be like, oh yeah, those guys were different enough, but now they're dead and I don't care. Now they're just gone. I don't care. So,
Yeah,
Chad.
I mean, if they're a bunch of guys in red shirts from a Star Trek episode, then you're right. Don't give them names. Call them one, two, three, and just let them have a moment, and they're gone. I thought they were characters, so that's why I made that comment.
Yeah, Chad, you get your hand up.
Yeah, yeah, I love this kind of stuff. I've seen so many. I just watched Dominion, the prequel to Exorcism. There's like two different versions. One the director did, and the other one the studio did. They're both interesting. Anyways, just something to consider is get it out of the bedroom. It's such a typical thing in those movies to stick it in the bedroom. She's on a bed. Pick something maybe that's just a little out there. Maybe it's in the bathroom, and it's really constricted and they're in there and she's in the tub or something like that. Just doesn't have to be that, but just something that's not the typical sort of she's on a bed, because sometimes those things I would think they don't go as clean as, we would like them to be, and but yeah, very interesting. And yeah.
I like that idea. Throw her in some water with a bunch of ice cubes, and all of a sudden you've got way more interesting stuff going on.
And they're stuck in this little room, dealing with something that's pretty fucking dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting if you open and there's four men dragging this screaming girl into a bathroom while somebody dumps ice into the tub and they try to like, I've never seen that in Exorcism. And that's like at least an interesting, visual that could do something for you there.
Yeah.
I got a couple things. I want to know about that gun. Is it like a Vatican gun? And then, I mean, I could see a row of priests outside praying if you want a bunch of priests, but that was just the two things I thought of, but I love where it's going.
Jamaica.
I liked it. When it came to the priest part, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Sister Act with all the priests, and they were like doing different things. I feel like if you're gonna use the priest, you could do something like they did that was kind of fun in the different Sister Acts with the priest to bring it all to full circle. But other than that, I thought it was amazing though. I liked it.
How you feel, Godfrey?
Oh no, I think this is all great feedback. Yeah. I was like stronger settings, make it different from any other, make it stand out a little bit more. It's got it, but it needs to stand out a bit
You've
more.
already got a whole script that we're working on. So this is good notes for your actual execution of the script, since you've already got it there. Right?
Absolutely.
And then Ian, I want to talk to you about your thing that you have put up, your soccer thing. What sort of feedback are you looking for, or what are you thinking about here?
Well,
tell us where you are.
Again, if you hop on Google and you say, "Give me a sample treatment," you sort of get components. Have a log line, have a description, have character descriptions, talk about location, talk about timeline, and I've kind of mashed that together into just a sample Word document. I've had a couple of people say to me, "I don't want to read the whole script, but can you just send me something?" So, so I put this together as a treatment, and I'm interested in knowing from your expertise and the expertise of the people on the call today, if I'm missing something in a treatment here, if I should have more, I should have less. I'm just really interested in the content and the feedback on the
You know
content.
what? Let's read it because I read it and I have some ideas about that and sort of what you're doing and why is a big question for me. So, do you want to read it or do you want me to read it?
Yeah, 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 you can go ahead. I've read it enough times.
Let's just read this first page because this is all I care about initially. Because when I get to a whole thing where you're describing characters, I don't care. Like unless I really understand what the story is, like who all the characters are and all of that. I want to know like one main character and your one compelling idea, and then like how these other people fit in. So let's just start. This is called When the Saints, and this is based on a true story.
It is. It's based on a soccer team in 1895 in
Okay.
Edinburgh, Scotland, who was kind of a rags to riches story. They were a shit team who ended up winning the Scottish Cup, and they beat, which is the oldest national soccer trophy in the world, and
Right.
they beat all the big teams to get there.
And then what are, there was the Chicago Black Sox. There was in a, did they do a movie on the Chicago Black Sox with the betting scandal for that?
That one I don't have I haven't tracked that one. What I did was I kind of mashed up a little bit of Peaky Blinders to it. Gambling wasn't really a thing in football till about the 1930s, kind of between
Good.
World War I and World War II. So I've gone and added it in a little earlier than it was in real life. So the whole Uncle Frank story is made up to add some drama to the actual soccer story.
Well, let's get to making shit up because you need to make up some really interesting shit. And I speak from experience because I had the idea for doing literally the movie that became Marty Supreme. I bought the book 10 years ago and I pitched it to my agent about a guy in the 1950s who was a hustler of ping pong, right? And my mistake was I'm going to tell that guy's story. That's not a really interesting story. It's an interesting like jumping off point, right?
Yeah.
You can, if you commit to it and create an amazing world. I did not go in and pitch the New York that Josh Safdie did, right? I didn't pitch the character that he pitched because I was attached just by default to the true story of the book, which is about a hustler and this and that. There's a lot of ping pong, but creating these phenomenal characters that your thing can be like, yeah, there's some legitimacy to it. Nobody's sitting around going, man, I wonder what happened in Edinburgh soccer in 1896, right? But if you create a compelling, great character, they're all over that, right? So
Yeah.
your thinking is gonna like use that as a jumping off point, but then go wherever you want to go because there is no fealty that you have to have to this idea in the same way that I didn't need to have fealty to the book that I had bought, right? So that was laziness. That was creative laziness on my part.
Yeah.
Okay. So log line. When a young, shy equipment boy has the opportunity to help a lowly football team in 1895, Edinburgh, Scotland, play in the Scottish Cup Championship, he gets a glimpse of potential glory, only to discover that his villainous uncle, a local gangster, sentence is too long. A local gangster has plans to sabotage the team's progress for profit. He must single-handedly choose between family and club to save his team and the ones he loves. So what actually happens there?
Uncle Frank and George is the main character, 15-year-old kid.
Yeah,
His father, who's now passed away, used to be Uncle Frank's partner, and Uncle
right,
Frank is a local gangster running a warehouse, and he gives money to George's mother.
right,
Their source of income. So George, on one hand, is working for Uncle Frank, and on the other hand, is working for the football team. And ultimately, by the time we get to the end of the movie, he becomes a bit of a martyr in that he decides not to go to the game. He instead helps the fans get to the game by going into the telegraph room, getting the train to come back, et cetera, et cetera. But he ultimately chooses not to go to the game in order for everyone to win. And at the end of
right.
it, he had formed a bond with Uncle Frank's boss in London, and Beecham comes in at the last moment, saves the day, saves George, saves the team, and there's a happy ending.
Okay, specifically, how is Frank going to sabotage the team?
He is betting against the team winning, and then when the Scottish Cup starts, he bets for the team to win, to win, to win, and then to lose. And that becomes the aha moment for everybody in that he's been betting with the team in order to encourage bets. And then on the final day, he's also got a plant. There's a guy on the team who actually has a
Right.
kid, and he's
Right.
gone and he's got a kind of an inside track in having somebody who's sabotaging games on behalf of him for the team.
Yeah, so that's your actual conflict, right? The actual conflict is um, there's a guy on the team who's sabotaging the team, and this just happened in the NBA. They arrested a couple of guys, including God, a famous coach. Was it? It's not Doc Rivers. Who was the famous coach? Some coach got arrested or something, and a player got arrested, and there was this massive gambling operation that was attached to the mob, and sort of the same similar thing in the Chicago Black Sox. I'm not really sure what happened there, but that's always an interesting thing, particularly when somebody's on a team. So you have the real human part of it is Uncle Frank, who may seem like the best guy in the world. I don't know what he seems like to our character George, right, initially. So those are your real sort of human conflicts. Or there's the guy on the team, there's Uncle George, there's Uncle Frank, and there's George. And so to me, like when I read this opening log line, it's if you're trying to send this document to somebody and get them interested, the log line is too the sentences are just it's way too much of a run-on sentence, but it's also not giving me specifics about how this character is in conflict because it is interesting that you're choosing between your family's financial ruin and the purity of a soccer game, right? That's some real shit that his mother is going to have to deal with in his decision, you know?
Okay. Yep.
So let's just read this concept summary. Because I didn't really understand what the conflict actually was when I read this. Based on factual reference material and fictional peripheral characters and story. Okay, I'm gonna make you get rid of that sentence, right?
Okay.
When the Saints is a classic underdog story pitting our protagonist George in a high stakes rivalry against local gangsters while his football club struggles both financially on the field and battling skillful rivalries. I think you've got to give me something that's just much more meat and potatoes of what the fuck happens when a guy realizes his uncle is sabotaging the very team he's working for. And then I'm going to assume also wants George to, he's going to have to be like insisting George do something too, right? Or something, or keep your mouth. There's got to be a real, like, listen, boy, this is the way the world works. You know?
Yeah. At the exact middle point, there's a Christmas dinner. He gets drunk and he makes a play on George's mom. George kind of goes, "Hey, get out and leave the team alone." And he says, "For clarity, I'll do whatever the hell I want. Otherwise, your mother will never see another paycheck." So that
Yeah.
becomes the inciting incident in the middle of the movie where he goes from a wanderer to a warrior. So
Yeah, and that's a great that weird uncle that all of a sudden is your just enemy, right? Is that's a great conflict for a boy and his mother who depends on this guy. Like those are real conflicts. So make sure your document lands on that, right?
okay.
So as young man George is new to the St. Bernard Football Club and forms bonds with staff, players, and management, as he learns that a combination of money on the field and spectator support are what determines success. So again, just honestly, this is way too vague in terms of what's happening. I to me, he just should be a guy working for the team, right? Everybody knows what an equipment manager is. Everybody knows they know players and other people. Who is this kid in his day-to-day life, right? With each newfound relationship, he develops a closer knowledge of the long-term positive impacts and the successful Scottish Cup outcome to bring love and community. Look, he's in this community, so they know what it means. Like there's like when I was in Long Island, I worked for Newsday, and I did a story on the fire department's competitions that they have back there. And Godfrey, you guys have volunteer firemen in Jersey, right? but they don't have the insane competitions that the ones on Long Island have. They have these souped up trucks and they have these firehouses that they hang out in and drink beer in and socialize. Their lives take place in the firehouses. And what was really interesting was being in those firehouses, and there's pictures of their grandfathers, right, from when they had horses and stuff. Like it goes back generations that these guys do. And these guys will work as garbage men in order to be firemen, in order to be volunteer firemen, because it's in their blood and their history. So this guy who comes from this soccer town, there needs to be this sense of like honor, and the team was one at one point they meant something to this town, you know, whether it's 15 years ago when maybe his father played for them and there was some sort of like real, like getting back to that has got to fucking mean the world to this town and this team. And then the realization that his uncle is going to sabotage that, which is his father's legacy, his own dreams of playing for them one day, maybe. Like is it Jason Tatum who was a ball boy? There's some very famous NFL or NBA All Star who was like a ball boy for a team when he was young, right? So like something where it's just there's something about it being in this kid's blood, and the sort of feel of this town. The what was the movie where the English movie where the kid ended up dancing? Um, People know this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billy Elliot? Billy Elliot?
Yes.
Billy Elliot,
Yeah.
Billy
Yeah.
Elliot, the full Monty, right? There's a history in these towns and all of that. Edinburgh is a town with great history. So it's a great world, is what I'm saying. But commit to that world. That kid grew up in this world. That kid knows what it means to be like, he's not going to be learning that soccer is important. He grew up in this fucking world. That's why he's working for the team, right? And so there's something about it being a betrayal of his dead father, you know, that his own uncle is doing here. Okay. In parallel, Uncle Frank Ramsey runs a local questionable warehouse business, money from which makes its way to George's. So I like this relationship with Frank's been taking care of mom, right? I like that. I think that's interesting. The guy that comes around, brings some money, you got a relationship with Frank. Hey, good to see you. That's an interesting way to break this kid's heart in the real world, like that he's got a relationship with Frank. He knows Frank's coming around. He knows it means something to his mom. This is a guy that he looks up to, right? And who ends up getting drunk at that Christmas dinner and is like, fuck you, kid, I'm going to do what I want to do. Like that's real shit, right?
Yeah.
So, he and his crony are frustrated with some of the reliance on horse race income and see George's involvement with the team as their upper hand to bet on football. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting, sort of behind we get to see them do their thing, and now this guy's showing up, and we're like, oh, he's not the good guy we thought he was, you know? And in fact, look, maybe Frank gets him a job on the team. Maybe Frank used to play for the team.
Yeah, I've actually got Frank as an ex-player. And again, I made all this up. I've got 120 pages I wrote from my head. So based on what is about 2 paragraphs of actual historical fact. Yeah, that's a question for you then. I mean, I've got Uncle Frank as the bad guy. I've got him as the bad guy in scene number 1. Berating a prostitute for why aren't you at work right now? You're threatening a guy who owes him money. Am I better to keep Uncle Frank as a good guy, and all of a sudden there's an aha moment?
I mean, look, that I always like when I get tricked by the writer and go, oh crap, like that's a terrible person. I'm trying to think of like one movie. I saw. You know what I saw recently was. What Lies Beneath. It's an old Harrison Ford, Michelle Pfeiffer movie. And he is the best husband in the world when you meet him. They are the ideal couple. Couple next door is fighting. He's wonderful. He loves his wife. Turns out he had an affair, murdered the girl. She's buried under the house, I think. Like
she's in the lake. She's in the water.
She's in the lake, right? Yeah. But he killed her in the house, I think. Didn't he? Something like that. Yeah, it's just. But it goes from being the most loving, wonderful husband in the world to tracking down his wife and trying to kill his wife in Act Three. And it's always great when you can do that. Now, listen, there's plenty of movies that start off with a villain from scene one. And you're going to have to look at a movie that you love that has a structure that you like and like really write down what the structure is of that and make that decision. So the blessings of his boss in London, Frank pushes pressure. So this is behind the scenes stuff. That's great. That's true villainous stuff. That's good. Once you set up that relationship with George and the mother properly, with pressure mounting toward the final game, George must choose between his family and the club. Yes, that's a thing that will happen. And between sabotaging the game and doing whatever it takes to win the championship, yes, this is technically correct. But I want to, you as the writer, I want to look, I don't know what the answer is to that. If a guy's paying for my mom and me to live and has done this all these years and he's doing this shitty thing, and it's like, what is the answer? This is where you, the writer, have to, do your thing and give me an unsolvable dilemma for my protagonist that is somehow solved. And that's classic, work that you have to do as the writer. I don't know how that works, but I think it's definitely an interesting dilemma that that George is in, and his mother's in.
Yeah. So clearly some cleanup to be done from a and I'm happy to circle it back again. From a format standpoint, when you've pitched stuff, David, is this what you hand over when somebody says, "Tell me about your story," or do you do something else?
In general, with the Writers Guild, we don't hand anything over. We're not allowed to hand over written documents that we're not being paid for. So, look, I think you could do some short version of this, and I don't think you need all these characters. Like, I don't. This main character is not going to mean anything to anybody. You could have it there, but it doesn't really mean anything. And I think really focusing on writing this concept summary and this log line in a way that, like, this is just way too much vague verbiage up here. And I don't know what the answer is, but finding a way to make this land, like, what is he going to do at the end of your thing is a real thing. And his mother is a real character, like, who's struggling. And you've got a really interesting proposition. So I would just work on this document and know that it's got to land on real human stakes.
Yeah.
And the real history of this boy and his father and the town and all of that, because you've got something that has genuine meaning to to his emotional life, right? And so you want to make sure that it lands on. Look at Billy Elliot and look at the Full Monty, right? Because those characters and those things are these, they're British, I think, in those movies. But the movie Once, I think, takes place in Scotland. But I don't remember. But yeah, just make sure it feels lived in and real, and that his dilemma is real, and we sort of get the conflict with his character. Because that story you described of the family dinner and all of that is a great turning point and a great real difficulty for him,
Yeah. Okay,
right?
great. Thank you. Yeah.
Anybody have notes?
I just want to say that I love these kinds of movies based on a true story. And I also just love your title, When the Saints. I think it's, it really piques curiosity. And I think it's a really cool title. So I'm personally looking forward to your film.
Awesome.
And I think it's a smart way to start this process of going, hey, here's what I'm doing. And, and then build from that. Okay.
Meat and potatoes was really helpful, Dave. Really just kind of a different way to distill all that great information that is in that document, but to make it super relatable and just focus on the story. Really great.
Yeah, you're telling an emotional story.
Yeah.
Anytime you're pitching something, you want to tell something that has some human emotion.
Yeah.
As opposed to informational.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you, everybody.
Right.
All right,
That's what
thanks,
I love.
guys. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
I was gonna say, that's what I love about the class is that you're drilling down to the emotional, what you call emotional authorship of the story. I'm slowly starting to understand that's what's driving the story. Once you start to get interested in the story, when you get interested in the characters, and that's slowly sinking in for me. So that's why I just wanted to throw that in. Sorry.
Awesome. Okay, guys, great work. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Ciao. Have a good
See
weekend.
you.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.